Hello, Atlanta sports fans, and how are you? And I'm coming to you live from the new studio, and we got to talk Falcons, and we got to talk Arthur Smith. But first, I did want to just friendly reminder here, if you didn't see it the other night, I went live for just a minute to let you know that Believe in Atlanta Sports is still around, but we're coming at you with a new show. Hence the ominous background here. We've got some construction going on, some paint, some foam, all the fun things. Better lighting so you don't see this annoying thing above my head. But yeah, new show, new attitude, different format, tighter shows, new studio and location. I'm actually building a studio in my home. We're coming to you from Kennesaw, Georgia. And, humble beginnings. New year, just kind of starting over, and all the proper gear is on the way to make this sound and look and feel a little better. And I want to say this is brought to you all by Believe. They're out of Los Angeles, California, a great podcast network company. I guess you would call them at this point a multimedia company because they're in a lot. They got their fingers in a lot of pies these days. But I digress. I just and again just wanted to reach out and let you guys know I'm here. We're live. And you can find us believeatl66 at gmail.com, at believeatl60, actually, sorry, at believeinatl66 on Twitter. I'm still not calling it X. And again, this whole live stream here, which you can pick up later, podcast will not be available yet. Like I said, I still got the gear, but we're going to try to get live because, the guys at Believe said, man, it's all about content. Just get some content out there. Don't worry about your production value. Don't worry about what your space looks like. Just get on and talk. So if you want to join, ask questions, because that's what this is all about. Because the point of my show, this show, is to always get fans involved, get everybody talking, get some creative juices flowing, just kind of see where we're at as a franchise, as a fan base. I know I said before we are deeply divided as a fan base, and I want to try to do a little healing and try to get us all on the same page. Because at the end of the day, what are we? We're Atlanta sports fans. We should be in this together. I know it's okay to have differences. We're not always going to like who they hire for head coaches of our teams. We're not always going to like the moves they make. And that's when we can talk about it, and we don't have to yell and scream at one another. But anyway, let's get down to business. And I want to talk about the New Orleans Saints and Dennis Allen for a second. I know this is a Falcons show, but good Lord. He kind of threw his players under the bus there at the end of the game. I don't know if you saw the end of the game. Him and Arthur Smith had some words. Arthur was heated. It's garbage time touchdown, but it's come out now that Dennis Allen basically said, my players asked for the touchdown. I said no. They went ahead and did it anyway. So twofold here. You just threw your players and your guys under the bus, but you've also just said your team doesn't listen to you. So that'll be kind of an interesting storyline to follow and just see what the fallout is from that, if there's any fallout at all. Now, on to the biggest question on every Falcons fan's mind, I'm sure, is should Arthur Smith go? Is it time for him to go? I don't know. I'm going to pose this first question. What if we gave him, and what if, I'm not saying I want this to happen, but what if we gave him one more season with a proper QB? Proper QB being, and again, these are just things I'm throwing out there for you to chew over, mull over, think on. There's been rumors that Aaron Rodgers may want out of New York. Would that be a good fit down here? I don't know. The Aaron Rodgers circus, that hoopla on the Pat McAfee show the other day with his comments about Jimmy Kimmel and all that. And, just kind of his overall aura, his attitude, it just seems a bit of a circus. And he is a diva. He's a total diva quarterback. So, you got to weigh those options. And is it even a reality? I don't know. Next thing that I've heard, and somebody asked me at work the other day, what about Russell Wilson? I don't think so. This is just an opinion here too. I don't know that Russell Wilson's mind is fully on football. I really don't. Now, an interesting one that I'm thinking about, and I don't know his situation in Cleveland, but Joe Flacco, what a job he's done coming in with Cleveland. Is he locked up there? Is he available? Could he be traded for? Seems like he's still got some gas in the tank to me. I don't know. There's a lot of other options you could talk about, but at the end of the day, do you as a Falcons fan think that maybe Arthur hasn't got a fair shake because he hasn't had that starting QB? That could also go down that hill of there was no consistency this year. He kind of went back and forth, and it was Dez was the guy. Then it looked like he wasn't the guy, and then he gave it to Taylor, then he gave it back to Desmond, then he gave it back to Taylor, and you know, I also feel like he treated players differently. And when you keep going a little further, you talk about, has he lost the locker room? I tweeted out, did he even have it all the way to begin with? It's just something about his demeanor that didn't sit well with me after a couple of seasons here. I can't quite put my finger on it. And another thing in Arthur's defense is the cap situation. It was an awful train wreck of a mess when he got here. So a lot of people, including myself, said this is probably his first real season to where he can, operate and move. And they bulked up on defense, of course, with the new D coordinator and some new players. And, they draft Bijan and they, man, boy, do they ever have some weapons on that offense. And, it just seemed like Arthur couldn't really utilize them, get them going. Now, was that because he didn't have the right guy under center? We may never know. But tomorrow morning, that's kind of when it all goes down. And you kind of ask yourself, if Arthur is out, if he's gone, where do you go from there? Now, a lot of people are saying, Bill Belichick. I don't know. How strong is his desire to coach, and does he even want to come here? What's he going to ask for? What's he going to need? Does he want to be? Is it going to be one of those situations where he's like, I will come to Atlanta, but I also need to be the GM, similar to Mike Holmgren and some other guys out there that have kind of wanted the full control, all the power, because that kind of leaves Terry Fontenot kind of twisting out in the wind. And a lot of people are blaming Terry too, but you got to remember, Fontenot came in after. He was second after Arthur Smith. That's not typical. Typically, you have your GM in place and everybody kind of huddles up and says, who's our guy? But that didn't happen to him. And I don't think you can blame Terry. I think Terry's done a pretty good job given, what he's had to work with, and he's brought in some guys. And, another one is Mike Tomlin that they've talked about. Would Mike Tomlin come in? It seems to be the general consensus he's done in Pittsburgh. I don't know. Eric Bieniemy, a lot of, his name comes up quite often after the job he did with Andy Reid in Kansas City. Who do I want? I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. I don't want to, say a Sean McVay type, but maybe a little younger, more forward-thinking coach. I don't even know if that matters. I really don't. And not that Arthur's old. I think I'm actually older than Arthur Smith, but I don't know. That'll be interesting to watch, though. But I do think what the Falcons have to do is they have to take a really good, long, hard look at not just the coaching staff, but the entire organization from top to bottom. There's people out there that want Rich McKay gone. They are ready to tell him to take a hike. He's been around for quite a while. He's the president. How much is he really doing in day-to-day operations as far as it goes with things on the field? Of course, an NFL organization is kind of like a Fortune 500 company. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scene that we don't know about. But I really do think from top to bottom, if you're going to get rid of Arthur Smith, I think you just maybe clean house from top to bottom and you go new, a new mantra, a new action plan, a new call to action, a brand anthem, whatever, just something to reinvigorate the city, because the Falcons for the past 6 or 7 seasons now have been pretty bad. Let's just go ahead and say it, 7-10. And, it's tough, man. We want a winner. We've seen Georgia, not everybody's Georgia fans, but we've seen them go back-to-back national titles. We just saw the Braves one heck of a World Series run, and they're set up to go on a couple more, moving down the road with this just litany of young talent, the garage full of sports cars we've got down there. And again, Atlanta has 2 World Series titles now. Now, the last one was in 95, a long time ago, but it's still, the Braves are there and they're doing their thing and they're winning. So I think Falcons fans just want that, and we've been close so many times. I can't say, oh yeah, I can say so many times. We had that Super Bowl in 98 where the Broncos took us out. We go to the Super Bowl and we're not going to talk about the Patriots, but we've been to some NFC championship games. So we have had our time. We just haven't, grabbed that brass ring, and that's what we want. We want a Super Bowl championship in Atlanta, and I don't even know when the next Super Bowl, it maybe even be, I don't think it's this season, but it could be up soon that Atlanta, 2025 maybe, that we have another Super Bowl here. And how awesome would it be for Atlanta to hoist that trophy up at home under their own roof? And, I think the question I'm going to ask you is who do you want? Leave some comments down there. Email us, believeatl66 at gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at believeinatl66. Let us hear from you. Let's get some dialogue going. Let's get some discussion. I would love to hear who you guys want. I know everybody and their grandmother, as it pertains to the quarterback position, a lot of Falcons fans are so obsessed with these running quarterbacks. And I don't get it because, Cam Newton, yeah, of course, he stayed in the league quite a while, but other than that, there haven't really been a lot of running quarterbacks that make it in the league. Cam got his ass kicked, some days. He just absolutely got, brutalized, and he got hurt. And I don't think that has anything to do with why he's not in the league now, but that's another story for another time. So I want to know, who do you want at quarterback? Who do you want as your head coach? How are you feeling? Do you think Arthur's gone tomorrow? Do you think he stays? Drop them in the comments. Like the page, follow the page, because like I said, guys, we're gonna keep coming in here. We're gonna keep dropping these live streams until we get everything going. But it's really just to get some content out and reach out to you fans and say, hey, I'm with you. I feel you. It is really hard at times to be an Atlanta Falcons fan, and overall, it's been tough at times just to be an Atlanta sports fans, but we do have those bright spots. And I think, I was talking about pages a minute ago. We all got to get on the same page here. And especially now with what's going on with the Falcons, the one thing I'm going to ask for, the one thing I'm going to request from all you Atlanta fans is patience. Patience, patience, patience. Now, if Smith is gone, the next guy that comes in, he's got a lot to work with and he's got money to spend. So it could make his job a little easier. And it makes you wonder, is he just a scapegoat? Did he really do that bad of a job given, the kind of the situation? Because if you've listened to any of our past episodes, I'm here to tell you, it was one of the most disastrous situations to walk into, one of the most awful rebuilds. And I think it's still going on. I don't know where things have gone wrong because they always say there's a new 5-year plan every 3 years. Well, in 3 years, it's 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. No improvement. We haven't gotten any better. And the defense, I won't say haven't got any better, but the defense, they upped their game this year. They look good except for today. They give up 48 points. But again, patience. And don't go crazy. If Smith is gone and whoever the new person is that comes in, don't jump off a bridge. Don't go wild with emotion. Just know that these guys, they're in these positions for a reason. There's a reason I don't, run an NFL franchise or own an NFL franchise or even work for an NFL franchise. I'm a fan, sometimes a casual fan just because of life. And, I don't always have time to sit down and watch the games or follow as closely as I like. But that's just, that's adulting is what they call that. It's just adulthood. So give them patience, give them time. Who knows who we'll get if we end up in that boat? And again, we're going to find out really soon, maybe even as early as tonight or tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm sure they're having some talks right now. I don't know if you saw anything after the game, but Arthur Blank was looking pretty emotional in the press conference. That kind of tells you some things that he's got, maybe that's a hard decision he's going to have to make. But seriously, patience and just let things unfold. And I'll tell you this, if you go wild on social media or go on a rant and a rave about how you don't like the hire and this, that, and the other, I beg you, submit your resume. See if you can get in there and do a better job. Odds are you can't. I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm just saying that to give you guys some perspective because we have some seriously bad apples in our bunch here. And I don't mean to call you out. I just think there's easier ways to enjoy football. It doesn't have to be this anger-ridden, stress-filled, bridge-jumping fiesta that happens quite often as it pertains to Atlanta sports. And I'm just here to tell you, guys, it's going to be all right. We're going to get there. I still believe in Arthur Blank as an owner. I still believe he has that fire and desire to win. I know I said at one point, maybe he got distracted when he brought the United in and they won that championship, but that's just me. That's pure speculation, pure opinion. But I just want to say love, love, love to all of you. I know you're angry. I know you're fuming. I know you just want a winner. You just want to get back to those days of competing for championships, like Dan Quinn, Matt Ryan, Jerry Glanville, Dan Reeves. We had some really good squads under those coaches. And I get it. You're hungry. You're hungry. Everybody wants a winner, and everybody's just, I guess, tired of what I call it, the old Falcon flop. And I don't know if any of you remember back in the day growing up in Atlanta, there was this great bumper sticker and it said, "Go Braves and take the Falcons with you." And sit tight, guys. And again, you ride with your team, you die with your team, no matter what, high and low, thick and thin, you're there. You know what I mean? So ride with us. Let's enjoy the ride because I'll tell you what, as much as it's really hurt to be a Falcons fans these last several seasons, and we could go on and on about pass rushing and red zone, and we could talk about that ad nauseum because it really has been a problem. O-line is another one that hasn't been addressed. But here's the thing, and if you're maybe you're a Falcons fan, but you're not a Braves fan, but if you're both, you remember those times when the Braves were down and how good did it feel in 21 to watch that World Series happen, to watch it happen and win it. It felt so good. And I'm telling you, when you're down in the trenches like the Falcons are now, and it seems like the dark times are never going to end, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Just imagine how great it's going to feel when we do get there, when we do see that light at the end of the tunnel, when we do find our starting quarterback, when we do, and if it's not Arthur Smith, when we do find our head coach and things start to click and things start to come together and we rip off a great season and we get into the playoffs, it's going to be amazing. It's going to feel so good. And I totally have faith in the Falcons organization to get this thing right, to get the organization back to its winning ways and make Atlanta football fun for us fans again, because it's fun to go to the games, but the outcomes of the games, the outcomes of the season and the moves we've made and the things we've done, that has not been fun. It has not been enjoyable. With that being said, if you tuned in and you watched, thank you. I saw a couple people pop up. I just got to keep getting out here and keep getting on live. But like I said, these live shows are eventually going to be turned into podcasts. They're going to be up several times a week. But please, please, I beg you, let's interact. I want to hear from you because I am on a mission. My mission is to unite us. I think we are definitely splintered. We're fractured. We need to heal as a fan base. We need to come together. And I'm not saying you all have to agree on everything, like I just mentioned earlier in the live stream here. You don't have to agree, but man, we really go at each other sometimes. And it's just like, it's not like that in the clubhouse. I mean, it can get like that. I'm not, maybe it's like that now with the Falcons, but when things are going great, it seems like everybody's all sunshine and smiles. But when it goes bad, we all start, turn on each other and we cannibalize each other. And that's when we need each other the most. That's when we need a hug the most, a pat on the back to say, hey, we'll get them next time. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you. When you see a fellow Falcons fan, introduce yourself, shake their hands, and tell them, "Hey, man, I love you." Now, players don't go around hitting on other Falcons fans' girlfriends. You female players, you don't do it either. But I kid. But seriously, guys, let's spread the love in 24. Let's all get on the same page. Let's be a united front, a united fan base. Let's come back bigger and better than ever. Because again, it's going to be a really interesting, off season when it arrives, just to see how things break down and how it plays out. But you should feel pretty good. I think I would love to see us bolster that O-line just a little bit more, but as far as weapons, a wide receiver, a good marquee wide receiver. But, we've got Drake. He could definitely turn into that. I would like to have another one. Kyle, we got to figure out how to use him. We got to figure out how to get him more involved and really have that real true like breakout year. We got the running backs. We know that. We know we've got two bruisers back there that can get after it. We just need a few more pieces. Just like, they said in the movie Major League, we just need a little something, that one thing to bring it all together. And we're going to get there. I promise you. So hang tight, keep your head up, keep smiling. And one thing we can look forward to, we're going to blink and they're gonna be, the leather's gonna be popping down in South Florida for another season of Atlanta Braves baseball, and we're gonna talk about that. University of Georgia, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta United. We're gonna talk about it all, but until I see you again, Atlanta sports fans, I love you. I need you. Let's be on for the city. Good night, guys.